Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are our stories and adventures, so welcome to Moose Flats Farm. Talk about a day of distractions. And I got to come up with a better fix for the brooder or the incubator. But right now, I've got 4 baby Orloffs in there and along the edge here, and I'll show you better once I can get in there and completely fix it. There's a nice enough gap that these guys fall down into it, and then the tray that's got the water in it, they wind up drowning. I lost one of the baby turkeys that way. Actually, last year, same thing happened. Got underneath it, so you have to come up with a better fix of those. But let's go up and check out the 2 baby turkeys up at the chicken coop in their little brooder set up. Let me get my coat on and we'll go up and look at those guys. So as if I don't have enough projects, I volunteered to help my father-in-law get a hedgerow over on his side of the fence between us and the neighbor. And so I ordered in some bare root Forsythia in the bucket there. I've had them soaking and just to rehydrate the roots, but this afternoon I've got to clean one of the garden beds up and get them healed in there just enough to keep them alive until we're able to get the fence fixed and get them planted. Forgot to cover that ground. But let's see the little babies. But there they are. And they're doing good. So this is the little firstborn one, and then there's the second one. And I know I have the hover brooder and that using a heat light can be deemed controversial. But hover brooders only work like in a controlled environment room. This is not. It fluctuates temperature, and last night it was like down to 23. The hover brooder wouldn't have been able to keep them warm enough. So they have the heat light. So we just keep an eye on it. And it looks like they have found their feed because there's a mess now. But I have been dipping their beaks in the water. So let's get the garden fork. And get this one row cleaned up so we can get the Forsythia healed in. Now that we've got the bed kind of cleaned up and the soaker hose is exposed, so we know where we can dig, let's dump these guys out and get them planted. And I'm just going to dump them right here on the lawn. So there you see, I've got a mass of sticks. And some of them are like this guy. Just a twig and a bunch of roots. Hi, Yeti. This one here, it's got roots all the way up to here and a bunch of growth, so definitely needs to get in the ground. And it's like both the same kind, totally different. So got to get these sorted out, placed out, and then we'll get them healed in for the probably 2-3 months that they're going to be here. Well, now that I've got these guys kind of healed in, and all healing in is planting them somewhere temporary. So I'm gonna go turn the water on and give them a drink just to settle the soil down. It wasn't too muddy, which was a good thing. And we are waiting on another shrub that will be planted with the Forsythia. Of course, it's on back order, but hopefully we'll get it before too long. But there, we've got the bed all healed in. So we'll give these guys a drink of water, and then, because I know I can plant either the peach or the nectarine and the pear tree with no major excavation, so probably get those two dug out of the shed and get them planted. Okay, so I'm out here in the orchard. Got my Bartlett Pear rootstock. I am going to be planting it in this flower bed right here, so we'll have the clump of rhubarb there and the Bartlett pear right there, and it should be close enough because the other pear is right over there. So gotta get the shavings removed and get a nice size hole dug. And I do have, even though it is like a potting mix that I'm going to be mixing with the native soil. It's got microbials and stuff in it. I was hoping to get just regular garden soil, but the place that I got this from, all they had were different types of potting mixes, so we'll just make do with this. Figure anything that can help the soil should help the pear and all the other fruit trees get healed in. So gonna get this guy dug out, or dug in. Digging a hole and filling it full of good soil, because you want the plant to grow out, and if it's just straight and good soil, it's just going to stay in that good soil. It's not going to want to go out into the native ground. So I'm going to add some more of the native soil, get it mixed up, and we're getting close to getting this guy in the ground. as you can see, basically right about where we want him, just kind of working him down into the hole. And he's got some weird pokey roots. Just going to add a little of this. And then just start backfilling. And since he's got this empty area here, I'm going to fill that under there first, because that will be the area that will have air pockets the worst. So I'm gonna go grab the hose, and we will water them in thoroughly before we add any more soil, just to make sure that all the roots are completely surrounded with soil. So back with you guys in a minute. And the main reason you want to mix whatever you're going to amend your native soil with, instead of just putting... So as you see, there is some pockets that we're going to have to fill. So you just take your soil and gently just tuck it down, minus the rocks, into the voids. And I'm trying to kind of leave a water well berm, so when I can soak it down good when it's time to water. And there you can kind of see the well shape that's going around. So I'll go through, finish getting the well put around it, get shavings on it, water it again, change the battery out in the GoPro because I did get smart. I bought extra batteries, and go take a look at where we're going to do either the peach or the nectarine. So be right back with you. So where I plan to put either the nectarine or the peach is right here by the woodshed and the rhubarb. And obviously it's in the bird pen. So part of what I have to do is figure out fencing to keep the birds out of here. And about right where this red stake is where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to have to get all of this rock and everything removed. And this time, as opposed to just planting it straight in the ground, I'm going to use this half bucket as kind of a water well for it. So I'll dig the hole this size, put it down with leaving like this much above the ground, so when we water it we can get a good deep soaking. So first I've got to get this all cleaned up. Okay, so that didn't take long to get the rocks removed, but the next thing is I've got to have some Oregon grape that I've got to dig out, and I probably should figure out some form of fencing before I start really digging in here, because if you've ever had chickens, if you dig somewhere, they're just going to follow right along behind you and dig also. But so let me ponder this for a second, and once I get the fencing situation figured out, I'll be right back and we'll get on with getting this cleaned up. Now she's going to walk away, but see what I mean by chickens helping? So I've gone through and I've got a box wire. I got the cinder box down there kind of in a semicircle. I've got box wire that goes all the way across, and right here I have a seam. Right now I just have 550 cord, basically laced it like a shoelace to hold it so I can get in and out when I need to and keep them out. So the next step in this one will actually be digging this whole area up and getting it prepped and ready for the fruit tree to go in. I will be getting black fencing, kind of like I have on here. You can barely see it, but it's the right size that it keeps the birds from sticking their heads through the fence, the box wire, and eating whatever's on the other side. So got a little wire mess to clean up here. Gotta go see what time it is, so I may get back to this today, or we'll get back to it tomorrow. Okay, so I've gone through and have done most of the prep work of this site. I am going to be planting the irises from my son along here, and I have gotten the flower pot all emptied. So I think I'm going to start planting the irises because they're going to be in the back. I'm not sure what else is going to get put in here, but for now it's just going to be the irises and the nectarine tree. So let's get these irises planted. So the whole theme of this is bare root, and I have gone through, because there was so much grass in that pot, and basically created bare root iris rhizomes. It's like you can see here on this one, it's got nice white healthy roots, where this end is old and dead. So when you're subdividing your irises, you want to remove the old dead spots. It just will make this one stronger. And I've got quite a few of them in the bucket, so just going to go along, see how many I can get in here, and maybe just the back area will get filled in with them later. But let's get a couple of these guys planted. So when you're planting your iris rhizomes, you don't want to cover this part with dirt because it will just cause it to rot out. So I've just made a little trench here, and then I'll just carefully backfill, trying not to cover the rhizome. And that's pretty much what it is to plant irises. Here's another big healthy one that does have a lot of, it's got a growth bud there, and this tuber is showing that it has good healthy roots, so I'm just going to keep it. Actually, I should plant them this way. And just the same thing. So I'll go through, get the rest of this area planted, and then we'll get to that nectarine. Okay, so just like the other one, we're going to mix some of that amendment stuff that I got in with the native soil and get this nectarine planted. Let's actually take him out of the bag so we see how deep our hole has to be. Sorry guys, I have a tree in the face. I'm just going to take the shavings and lightly cover the irises with it. Okay, so this guy, there's where the graft is, and you're going to want to plant just below the graft, because if I plant down here, this graft here will put off sucker growth that will rob from the tree that I want to grow, and it will grow whatever the grafting material is. So I'll plant it just about there, I believe is the correct way to do it. So my hole is plenty deep enough. Have to do some more filling of it. Gonna backfill some more native. Can remember where my hole is. Okay, so we'll just dig a hole back in there. Gently get his roots down. Back filling on him. Get him relatively straight with the world. And then you're going to want to press the soil down. And in doing this, I'm going to be working on making the water well. That looks pretty good. Just have to go through and kind of level the excess soil out in here and get shavings down and water him in. So upon reading the planting instructions on these guys, they recommend that Yeti, I don't need you in there, that you prune the branches back by, what was it? So you want to prune the side branches within 6 inches of the main trunk and basically take a third of the main trunk out. So I'm gonna go through and kind of prune this back like they recommend, which is fine because I wouldn't want fruit on it this year. Next year maybe I'll let it have a couple because I'd rather it have more attention to putting roots in than producing fruit. Okay. And I'm just going to trim this lower one because it was broken. And I am pruning them just above a growth spurt or a growth bud. Okay, not much left to it, but hopefully this will get it to take off good. And I have gone through and watered everything in really good. And even though I don't have anything planted in the whiskey barrel or in the back of this area, it's one of those, if I don't cover it, Mother Nature will, and I'd rather have the layer of shavings down and work as weed suppression than have to come in and weed. So that's where I'm going to end today's video. I hope it demystifies some of doing bare root planting. I love to do it. It saves money. It's just a little more, it's about the same legwork as if you buy it in a pot. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with more planting. Talk to you guys later. Bye. And I probably should, since I started this video with being excited to distraction about the baby chicks, give you guys an update before I shut off. So there they are. They're doing really good. And this little guy, that's the first turkey that was born. That's little Kai. And little Kai will be sticking around the farm. He will either be replacing the Jake turkey or the one turkey that's blind in the one eye this fall. So honestly going to sign off now. So have a good day and a good week. Bye guys.